Well, it's Saturday afternoon, and unfortunately, it's a beautiful day, but we are stuck in the office prepping some cases for clients for the coming week. It's a busy week ahead of us. Despite the shutdown, our law firm has been incredibly busy representing clients in New Jersey at hearings, at detention hearings, at various pretrial meetings with prosecutors and judges regarding where cases are going. So that's not going to stop this week. We have clients meeting with us regularly via Zoom and, if necessary, in person if it requires immediate legal attention. So I just wanted to comment briefly on the situation with these two NFL players who are charged with aggravated assault and robbery. I believe one of the young men turned himself in today, and the other one appears to be, according to news reports, undecided. I don't know what that means. In my previous video, I talked about, obviously not turning yourself in is a bad decision. I would have to think that whoever the attorney is who's going to be retained in the case, that would be the first piece of advice that I would give to these young men. One of them apparently has already turned himself in. I would imagine that he's going to have a bail hearing in the next few hours if he hasn't already had one. I don't believe that bail is going to be an issue in the case. Both these young men will be given bail. It may be a high bail, but obviously they will be able to satisfy a high monetary bail. But it doesn't have to be a high monetary bail. Obviously, they have no prior criminal history. I would imagine nothing major. If they did, I doubt they would actually even be in the NFL. The NFL really has little tolerance for individuals who have a really strong criminal background. Obviously, there are exceptions, but that's becoming less and less. I believe that most players playing professionally now are, for the most part, individuals who have no real issues. It seems like that would immediately disqualify them from potentially even being drafted in professional sports. So it's becoming very much a character fitness test, as well as a athletic ability test as well. So with regards to the charges, I know that ESPN is reporting that they're charged with aggravated assault and robbery, and these are extremely serious charges, and they are. But I think it's important to understand that we don't know anything about this case. We just know it was a card game, and that these two young men apparently were involved in a situation where a gun was pulled out and people were threatened, and watches, I think, were taken, or money was taken of some sort. So, we don't know what the circumstances were. Again, I'm not justifying what happened. I'm just simply stating that, for all we know, these men could have been victims themselves and been threatened, or something else could have occurred. I don't know. I've heard reports about one of the men wearing masks, but I mean, as most of us know right now, we're all wearing masks. So I don't think that tells us anything. With regards to the charges, I spoke in a previous video about, aggravated assault and robbery. There's different gradings of it. And that makes a huge difference in terms of the consequences these men would face if that turns out to be the charges. In addition, this may be a case where they have a strong case for self-defense. They themselves may have been threatened. That may have caused them to pull out guns. We don't even know if they even had permits to carry those weapons. I don't know Florida law with regards to whether or not they had permits to carry, or whether or not they had out-of-state permits, or what their situation is. But I believe that they may be, prior residents of Florida, may still be residents of Florida. So when it comes to bail, a judge will look at, prior contacts with the justice system at any level. Obviously, contacts to the community, work history. Obviously, both of them are gainfully employed as NFL athletes. I don't see bail being an issue. From there, we talked previously about where the case is going to go. Florida, like New Jersey, is an indictment state. It's a grand jury state, unlike Pennsylvania. So they're not going to have a preliminary hearing. They will have a first appearance in Florida, where their attorney has the opportunity to argue probable cause. That's probably going to occur for one of them, maybe even today. I don't know Florida's procedure, how that works. But again, with regards to the case, I think that ESPN unfortunately has news reporters just simply telling us what the charges are, but I haven't seen any legal analysis with regards to maximum punishment, sentencing guidelines, what they could face. I haven't heard anything even remotely close to that. I've heard news reporters, some of whom may even have law degrees, but that doesn't make them knowledgeable on these charges, the process, and what could happen. So I think at least one of these news outlets should have a reporter, possibly have one, either a former Florida prosecutor or defense attorney, to really explain what's happening here. And with regards to the league, right now they have a presumption of innocence, and I know that the NFL obviously doesn't work on that standard, but I would imagine that their agent would be doing everything possible to ensure that they're able to play with these charges. That may not happen. I don't know exactly what the NFL's procedures are, but this case is going to last a while, or at least it should. So I don't see it being able to be concluded unless there's a plea this year. It's very likely it will go into next year, especially because of the COVID shutdown. I know Florida has reopened, but I would imagine that that's going to cause a lot of delays because of the backlog cases if their court system is even operating. So remember that while they're charged with aggravated assault and robbery, which are felony offenses in Florida, those charges can be downgraded to misdemeanors. They can have a very strong self-defense argument. All those things are still on the table. If you have questions about a violent offense, or if you've been charged with a violent offense and you're not sure how to handle the case, you want to speak to a criminal defense lawyer about it. If you have a friend who's a lawyer but doesn't practice in the criminal area, the best they can probably do is just give you some just basic information, if that's even possible. I would strongly encourage you to speak to a criminal defense lawyer. If you have questions, you can always call our law firm at 215-755-9000. You may also email or text us through the website, gambonelaw.com. It's a very exciting time in our law firm. We're opening up a second office in Moorestown, New Jersey, and we look forward to speaking to you.